In the vast and limitless worlds of anime, we meet countless warriors, fighters, heroes, and villains. Some conquer battles with brute force, some with supernatural abilities. But there's another kind of warrior, the kind who doesn't need a sword or superpowers, because their greatest weapon is their mind. Today, we bring together 3 of the sharpest, most dangerous minds ever created in anime. Light Yagami, also known as Kira, the man who believed he could create a perfect world by eliminating all evil. Lelouch, vi Britannia, the revolutionary prince who took on an empire and rewrote history with nothing but his wits and a mask. Kiyotaka, Ayanokoji, the shadowy figure who controls the battlefield without anyone realizing he was even there. This is not a fight of fists. It's not about flashy powers or the biggest explosions. This is a battle of strategy, manipulation, and psychological warfare. A game where one wrong move means checkmate. What lines they will cross, and what sacrifices they will make to achieve victory. By the end, you'll see a scoreboard that reveals the ultimate king of strategy, and maybe you'll realize the one who deserves the crown might not even want it. So sit back, because the chessboard is ready, and the game begins now. We start with Light Yagami, a high school genius, top of his class, admired by teachers and feared by classmates for his flawless intellect. From the outside, Light had everything: brains, looks, and a bright future. But deep inside, he was bored. The world felt stale to him, corrupt, broken. That all changed when the Death Note fell into his hands. A black notebook that could kill anyone whose name is written in it, as long as the user knows their face. For most people, this would be terrifying. For Light, it was an opportunity. He decided he would use the Death Note to eliminate all criminals, one by one, until the world was pure. In his mind, he wasn't just cleaning the world, he was creating a new one, and he would be its god. Light's strength as a strategist lies in his ability to plan multiple steps ahead and adapt instantly when under pressure. His battles against L, the world's greatest detective, are a masterclass in psychological warfare. Every conversation, every glance, every small detail, Light calculates it all. But this also reveals his weakness, his arrogance. The more he succeeded, the more untouchable he believed himself to be. And in a battle between geniuses, arrogance can be fatal. Next, we have Lelouch vi Britannia, also known as Zero, exiled prince of the Britannian Empire. Lelouch was born into royalty, but cast aside after his mother's assassination and his sister's injury. He grew up despising the corrupt empire that destroyed his family's life. But unlike Light, Lelouch didn't stumble upon his weapon by chance. He sought it. That weapon came in the form of the Geass, a supernatural ability allowing him to give absolute commands to anyone. Once direct eye contact is made with the Geass and his brilliant mind, Lelouch built the persona of Zero, a masked leader who inspired rebellion and fear in equal measure. Where Light worked from the shadows to cleanse the world, Lelouch stood at the front line, commanding armies, toppling regimes, and reshaping the political map. Lelouch's true genius is his ability to see the big picture. He isn't just thinking 1 or 2 moves ahead, he's thinking entire wars ahead. He calculates not just the next battle, but how that battle will shape the minds of millions. And while he is ruthless, Lelouch's actions are driven by love for his sister, and a vision of a better future for the oppressed. His weakness, that love, it makes him take risks no purely logical mind would take. And in the hands of another genius, that love can be used against him. Finally, we have Kiyotaka, a seemingly average high school student at the advanced nurturing high school, but nothing about him is average. Raised in the White Room, a brutal and secret government training program designed to produce perfect human beings, Ayanokoji was trained from birth to be an unparalleled thinker, fighter, and manipulator. While Light and Lelouch seek to change the world, Ayanokoji seeks nothing. He has no grand ideology, no burning passion, no desire for recognition. He moves through life as an observer, pulling strings only when it serves his quiet goals. This lack of ambition is perhaps his greatest strength, because unlike Light and Lelouch, he cannot be baited by pride or passion. His moves are cold, calculated, and often invisible. By the time you realize he's been controlling events, it's already too late. However, his detachment is also his weakness. Without a clear emotional drive, Ayanokoji may not push himself beyond certain limits, unless the game truly interests him. With our three kings introduced, the stage is set. 3 minds, 3 philosophies, 3 completely different ways of winning. In the next phase, we'll put them head to head in the first round, intelligence and planning, and this is where the real battle begins. Light Yagami is a master of rapid adaptation, but his methods are driven by maintaining his image of invincibility. When L begins closing in on him far faster than expected, Light doesn't collapse. Instead, he begins constructing an entirely new persona, one that can blend with suspicion rather than resist it. The memory loss gambit, where he willingly gives up the death note to erase his own memories, is perhaps his most daring adaptation. In doing so, he not only evades suspicion but also positions himself to reclaim the death note at the perfect moment. His adaptability is bold and often successful, but it comes with a flaw. Every move Light makes still seeks to reaffirm his superiority. That pride sometimes blinds him to risks he cannot calculate. Lelouch's adaptability, however, comes from his battlefield experience. His strategies aren't rigid. They're fluid, evolving as the enemy shifts. In countless battles as Zero, Lelouch modifies entire operations mid-fight when unexpected variables appear. If an ally betrays him or a plan unravels, he immediately constructs a new path that still pushes toward his ultimate objective. This is most clearly seen when his equally cunning half-brother outmaneuvers him. Instead of forcing a failing plan, Lelouch changes the game entirely, culminating in the Zero Requiem, a masterstroke that rewrites the very conditions of victory. His adaptability is deeply tied to his charisma. He can convince allies to follow even the most dangerous, sudden changes. Ayanokoji approaches adaptability differently. For him, unpredictability is not an obstacle, it's his natural environment. Trained in the White Room, where every moment was an exercise in control under pressure, he doesn't just react to changes, he manipulates them to his advantage. In the island test, unexpected alliances, betrayals, and resource shortages become tools for him to refine the outcome. Because his ego is absent from the equation, he can abandon or reshape a plan without hesitation. Where Light might adjust reluctantly and Lelouch might adapt dramatically, Ayanokoji shifts silently, making it impossible to tell if he ever changed his plan at all. Now, adaptability is one thing, but controlling the opponent's mind is another. Planning wins battles, adaptability wins wars, but psychological warfare that decides who never even gets to fight. Light Yagami weaponizes fear like few others. The identity of Kira is a carefully maintained myth, an omnipresent judge watching over the world. Criminals become too terrified to act, and ordinary citizens begin to subconsciously support his cause. Even his personal interactions are riddled with psychological traps. Every time Light speaks with L, he's measuring every reaction, adjusting his tone, his body language, his choice of words to plant seeds of doubt or false security. In the Death Note world, Light is not just playing chess. He's convincing his opponent the board is made of something else entirely. Lelouch, however, thrives on inspiration as a weapon. While Light rules through fear, Lelouch commands through belief. His mask, his voice, his carefully chosen symbols all turn him into a legend, one that unites the downtrodden and terrifies his enemies. His psychological warfare works on both sides. His allies follow him into impossible situations because they believe in Zero, while his enemies hesitate because they fear the chaos his presence brings. He doesn't just change minds. He reshapes identities, turning ordinary rebels into the face of revolution. Ayanokoji's psychological warfare is different. He doesn't need the world to know his name, and he doesn't need his enemies to fear him. His power lies in making people act exactly how he wants, without them ever realizing they've been manipulated. In Classroom of the Elite, he creates rivalries, fosters alliances, and sets traps that seem like accidents. His opponents often believe they've made their own choices, when in fact, every step was part of his design. The absence of visible control makes his manipulation almost impossible to counter. You can't fight a mastermind you don't even know exists. And now we arrive at morality, the one area where the battle shifts from intellect to philosophy. Because in the end, strategy isn't just about what you can do, it's about what you're willing to do. Light's morality is absolute, at least in his own mind. He sees the world in black and white. Good people live, bad people die. But as Kira's reign continues, his definition of bad shifts dangerously. Those who oppose him, no matter their reason, become enemies of justice. This rigid, self-serving morality is both his driving force and his downfall. It gives him purpose, but blinds him to the possibility that he could be wrong. In a prolonged battle of minds, that inflexibility is a crack that can be exploited. Lelouch's morality is layered and complex. While he is willing to sacrifice lives and use manipulation, he does so with a long-term vision of peace. His ultimate act, sacrificing himself in the Zero Requiem, is the purest example of utilitarian morality, enduring personal damnation for the greater good. Unlike Light, Lelouch knows he's not a god. He accepts the cost of his own life to achieve the world he envisions. This awareness gives him a kind of humility Light never achieves. Even if his methods are equally ruthless, Ayanokoji's morality is absent in the conventional sense. He doesn't weigh good against evil or lives saved against lives lost. He operates purely on logic and efficiency, detached from emotional consequences. This detachment makes him dangerous. He can make decisions without hesitation that others would agonize over, but it also means he lacks the unifying vision of someone like Lelouch or the ideological fire of someone like Light. His moral neutrality makes him unpredictable, but it also means he has no reason to push beyond his own quiet ambitions unless forced. So, who wins? In pure planning, Light claims the micro level, Lelouch commands the macro level, and Ayanokoji masters the invisible level. In adaptability, Ayanokoji takes the edge for his seamless shifts, Lelouch for his dramatic recoveries, and Light lags slightly due to his pride. In psychological warfare, each rules their own territory, Light through fear, Lelouch through inspiration, Ayanokoji through invisibility, and in morality, Lelouch's willingness to sacrifice himself for his vision arguably gives him the strongest, the foundation for lasting change. The final scoreboard isn't simple. If the three were locked in a battle where the world could see, Lelouch's charisma and large-scale planning would likely secure victory. If it were a hidden war fought in shadows, Ayanokoji's invisible hand would tip the balance. And if it were a duel of direct wits with full information, Light's precision and intellect could overwhelm. But there's a truth all three might agree on. In a battle of geniuses, the one who wins isn't always the smartest. It's the one whose opponent never realized they were playing the game. And so the crown remains disputed, not because no one can claim it, but because each wears it in a different way. The king of the shadows, the emperor of the people, and the god of the new world. Three rulers in three realms, each undefeated in their own arena. So I'll leave it to you, the audience, which king deserves the throne. The comments are your battlefield. Choose your champion.